Barrett and Curtis Axel to be the ones that are going to come in and make the WWE interesting. They're just people who are kind of just there for the sake of filling voids that John Cena and Randy Orton leave behind. So, people like Brock Lesnar and Sting being champion, I think no better moves could be made at this point. And with Sting's future being very uncertain with professional wrestling right now, I think we need a clearer indication as to when, where, and how we're going to see Sting compete again. We need to know when Sting is going to compete again, whether it be against Seth Rollins or we're going to get this Sting versus Undertaker match. I go back to the promo where Sting's future was being questioned by Renee Young the night after WrestleMania 31. Fans were chanting Undertaker. Simply put, fans want to see Sting versus The Undertaker for far more than what they want to see Sting versus Seth Rollins. And I agree with wrestling fans about that match, but you can't have the match any bigger venue than at WrestleMania 32 next year in Dallas. There's just something about that venue in Dallas, Texas that makes sense for Sting versus The Undertaker. I've been a huge supporter of this match. I wanted to see this match for what feels like forever, but I mean, let's face the facts. And the facts are it's not going to happen anywhere unless it happens at WrestleMania 32 and one of those wrestlers stays and one of those wrestlers goes and determines who is the definitive icon after remaining true to their respective brands. Sting for WCW, The Undertaker for WWE all those years during the Monday Night War. They documented that for the Monday Night War series on the network, one of the first episodes ever dropped of the Monday Night War series on the WWE Network, focused on the Sting and Undertaker rivalry from WWE and WCW, and which one was more infamous. We will determine that in that match, and we'll determine who stays and who goes. And obviously, in my opinion, Sting will win his next match. And if his next match is against The Undertaker, Sting is my prediction to win this match, because Sting needs to have momentum on his shoulders. He either needs to win the championship or he needs to have a case created as to why he's the number one contender for the championship. Paul Heyman painted a very interesting scenario in the minds of wrestling fans prior to the Royal Rumble. He said, why not make Sting the number one contender for the championship and have Brock Lesnar be the champion in possibly a retirement match where Sting puts his career on the line? That would be very interesting. That would create ratings. Let's say Sting puts his career on the line and he comes in on top defeating Brock Lesnar, who would be champion in this kind of scenario. That would be interesting. But at this point, as I previously said, I don't care who the champion is as long as we see Sting one time be the champion. I wouldn't care if it was only just one time Sting was champion and he held the title for 4 or 5 months, depending on the marquee pay-per-views like the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, and Survivor Series. I wouldn't care. The Legends contracts only require to wrestle at major events like WrestleManias and SummerSlams. I wouldn't care how many times Sting would defend it, as long as Sting was champion for a significant amount of time, and we got to see Sting as champion only once. And as I said here earlier, if they can do it for Goldberg, they can do it for Sting. And if not that, they can give us Sting versus The Undertaker, because now there's no reason why this match can't happen than there has ever been before, because we have so many Undertaker fans and we have just as many Sting fans who have carried over from World Championship Wrestling to WWE. Now, this may be a watered-down version of the original Sting. We may not get the Raptors entrance. We may not get the utilization of the belt as much as what we did in WCW in the way of the bat being a variable for Sting. We may not get Sting, as the red and black Wolfpack Sting. But the thing is, even though it's a watered-down version of Sting, without the bat being utilized as much, the Raptors entrance, we're just getting the chance to see him, and that, in my opinion, is cool enough. There could be a point in time where Sting leaves, but the thing is, Sting at least contributed something out of WWE, even if it is 3 or 4 months that Sting is only there after he comes back and then he leaves and we don't ever hear from Sting ever again. At least we can say Sting was a part of WWE, and now he's qualified to be in the WWE Hall of Fame after being absent from WWE for the last 14 years, ever since WCW was purchased, and Sting had a lot of animosity towards Vince McMahon. There is the speculation that Sting will never return because of the animosity towards himself and the McMahon family that he's had for the better part of the last 10 years, especially after that controversial YouTube video that was dropped in 2005 when Sting said he would never work for Vince McMahon and Triple H. But I think that animosity has been put aside. They're letting bygones be bygones. Sting is realizing there's no big game in town other than WWE. The only other option for him would either be go to TNA or to the independents. He's not going to do that because he's been in TNA. He's accomplished and conquered everything TNA has been eligible for him to do, and he's done everything on the independent wrestling circuit. So there's only one major level, one major platform left for him to perform on before he retires at 58 years of age, and that is WWE. And at 58 years of age, I mean, Sting seems like he hasn't missed a beat. Sting is just as good as he was back when he was 30, back when he was the Beach Blonde Sting, and he was giving us moment after moment after moment. Sting doesn't need to give us 15 or 20 moments in his WWE career, in his WWE run. He just needs to give us one or two definitive moments, and those definitive moments could be, despite losing to Triple H, could be wrestling The Undertaker, defeating The Undertaker, or defeating whoever the WWE champion is, because as I said earlier, it just would be cool to see Sting as WWE champion. I would go for that. I think the ratings would blow up. I think the pay-per-view buy rates would be higher than they've ever been before. If you don't go that route with Sting, there's always the option, too, of having him be general manager of Monday Night Raw. That would be awesome because the live show ratings would blow up completely if Sting was the general manager. I mean, Sting has been general manager of TNA Wrestling before, and he did a great job being the general manager of TNA, so why not make him the general manager of Monday Night Raw? Why not reinstate the roles of general managers? That's been killed ever since Brad Maddox and Vicky Guerrero departed from WWE, and we haven't seen them since. So bring back the general manager. That's another option for Sting if you don't want him to be champion or to face The Undertaker right away at WrestleMania 32. There are so many avenues that you can approach with Sting's character, and there are so many possibilities. The possibilities list with Sting is really endless. And, you know, we may be getting a watered-down version of Sting without the Bat or the Raptors entrance and the red and black Wolfpack Sting. But the thing is, Sting is there, and it's just cool knowing that Sting is under contract with WWE after having been a Sting fan for what feels like my entire life. You know, there are these wrestlers. The thing is, you know, you got as many Daniel Bryans, Dolph Ziggler's, and Wade Barrett's as you want. You see them all the time coming in and out of WWE, but there are these wrestlers that really define the business and define what being a wrestling fan is really all about for me. And those wrestlers are in the category of The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, and Sting. These wrestlers are really what defines being a wrestling fan for really being what it's all about. And without these wrestlers, without these definitive names, there's really no purpose of being a wrestling fan. That purpose is completely defeated and thrown out the window if you don't have people like Sting, Lex Luger, Hulk Hogan, Shawn Michaels, Randy Savage, The Ultimate Warrior, The Undertaker, Steve Austin, Rock. If you don't have these names, if you don't have these Hall of Famers, these people who have done it all, conquered everything there is to have conquered in professional wrestling, I mean, what is the purpose of ever being a wrestling fan? There's no purpose behind being a wrestling fan without people like Sting. So I think Sting didn't deserve to be kicked in the face at WrestleMania 31. He didn't deserve to go out a loser, even though there may be more pride in losing matches, because that's what wrestling psychology is all about. There's more pride and more money behind losing matches than there is winning. You know, winning a match is just, okay, I won a match. I beat Triple H. I beat Shawn Michaels, I beat Bret Hart, I beat Steve Austin. You know, winning a match for Triple H is just winning a match. For instance, Triple H has beaten everybody there is to have beaten in professional wrestling. So winning a match for him is just, you know, a day's work. But losing a match, there's a lot of pride and there's more money, and that's what people like Mick Foley and Sting look at when losing matches. I would venture to say that even though Sting won a significant number of WCW matches and TNA matches, in his career he has lost more times than he's actually won. There are more L's in the loss column than there are W's in the win column of the Sting win-loss chart and win-loss record, because Sting believes in losing matches. And I don't know what the philosophy is. You know, you'd expect someone like Sting to want to win his first WWE match, and I would want to go on record for saying that Sting was pissed off over the decision of having to lose to Triple H, because I believe with the animosity he's had towards Triple H and Triple H's family and the McMahon family for years, I believe Sting was pissed off over that probably just as much as The Undertaker was to have to lose his streak to Brock Lesnar after nearly 2 decades of defeating legend after legend after legend at WrestleMania, defeating 10 former world champions, every member of Evolution, from Triple H right through to Ric Flair. I mean, he's done it all in that streak, and he had to lose to Brock Lesnar. And Sting losing to Triple H fits in the same category, and that's why Sting versus The Undertaker is a match that we need to see at WrestleMania 32, with the Dallas venue being just perfectly fitting, perfect with the feud between Undertaker and Sting have never happened in WWE, and this dispute being for years. I mean, if we can see every dream match from The Rock and Goldberg to The Rock and John Cena, why can't we have The Undertaker versus Sting with how much conversation we have heard about this one for forever? And if not that, why can't we have Sting have one definitive reign that defines his legacy as a legend of professional wrestling and would solidify his legacy as a future WWE Hall of Famer, which I really believe is one of the biggest reasons why Sting came to WWE and signed his name on the dotted line of that Legends contract, was to get into the Hall of Fame for WWE. But the thing is, Sting needs to do a significant number of things before he goes into the WWE Hall of Fame. They just can't put him in the WWE Hall of Fame after being with the enemy company for years. Sting has to do something that will define him in WWE, and that could be either beating The Undertaker and ending The Undertaker's career in The Undertaker's final match, because it said on The Undertaker's contract he has one more match, and that's with Sting. And with fans chanting Undertaker versus Sting, this is the one time that WWE should listen to its fans, because the buy rate of the pay-per-view and the subscribers of the network would blow up, along with TV ratings for the segments, and hopefully they would get something going for Sting versus The Undertaker. And without Sting did not acknowledge the chance of Undertaker in that promo after WrestleMania 31 in the fallout on the network, obviously he knows that his next opponent could be The Undertaker if it's not the champion. And I say it could be the champion too because of how Seth Rollins has been bringing up Sting in promos and face-to-face altercations with Triple H and members of the Authority and just WWE wrestlers in general. He's always been saying stuff about Sting. So it's either going to be The Undertaker on one side of the coin, on the tail side of the coin, and on the head side of the coin, it's going to be Seth Rollins. In my opinion, it's definitely going to be someone, The Undertaker or Seth Rollins, on either side of the coin for Sting. And I really don't care at this point who Sting faces, because I'm just a Sting fan and I want to see Sting wrestle again. We need to know when Sting is going to compete again, and we need to know who Sting is going to compete against. On the head side of the coin, Seth Rollins, and on the tail side of the coin, The Undertaker, or is it going to be somebody completely different? It could be Bray Wyatt, for all we know, with how Bray Wyatt's been acting stranger as the weeks go by on Monday Night Raw and the fallout of his loss to The Undertaker. He can't be talking about The Undertaker still after losing to him at WrestleMania, can he? I mean, The Undertaker just has one program every year at WrestleMania, and after The Undertaker loses, or wins at WrestleMania, rather, all these years gone by, the thing is, The Undertaker's program is just finished up and nothing is done with it ever since. So Bray Wyatt can't be talking about The Undertaker, can he? I mean, he's got to be talking about someone else. Maybe it's Sting. Maybe it's not Sting versus Seth Rollins.